and practiced every line, and all of them queued up and waited for the right time. But when I saw you, nouns made way for verbs, and they huddled up like birds around the house. And when you look back, all the birds took flight, struck out for the night and hastened on, and they made wild, wild accusations. Later that night they found shelter atop a white pine, and the house below still is shuttered, nothing uttered there for so long. But if you and me find the stone, find the key, it's ours until we die. And I'll carry you right up the stairs, girl, and pull down the blinds, and we'll make wild, wild accusations. We'll make wild, wild accusations. Black and blue can turn shiny and new in a room with a view for a while, and birds with words will sing in thirds, and that song will carry on for miles. And I'm sure the sunlight will profess and confess, shining through your dress on the line. Now I'm done with these beautiful guesses, and now that you're mine, we'll make wild, wild accusations. We'll make wild, wild accusations. We'll make wild, wild accusations. You're all that I know, you're all that I see, you're all that I am, founded by the sun, followed by the moon, loneliness too soon. You're all that is real, you're all that is right, sun, followed by the moon, loneliness too soon.
Hey, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Sunday, Open Pagan Church. I will get all my little buttons flipped here. Actually, kind of like the music. Yep, well, right. Welcome to Open Pagan Church, another broadcast right here. Of course, we are live on Facebook every Sunday. Archives over on YouTube. If you're watching our archives, click like or dislike. Click subscribe. Give me some comments. We like comments, good, bad, or indifferent, as long as they're sort of respectful. Well, topic for today, we're going to jump right off in it. Hope everyone is doing well. We're broadcasting from northern Dallas, actually north of Dallas, about 45 miles. We have had some amazing storms blow through in the last couple of days. Little town called Waxahachie, up south of us a bit, got tore up pretty bad by some tornadoes, and some other folks around the surrounding areas got hit with some pretty bad tornadoes. So, energy's going out to them for sure. Candles lit that their families and homes and everything get put back together and then get their lives back on track. Hurricane just had one hell of a hurricane blow through Florida again. Um, Tore up the southeastern seaboard pretty bad. Wiped out a lot of homes and families there. So energy's going out to them. Our topic today is, I guess you could say, near and dear to my heart. I don't know about the rest of you, but winding oneself up. Who's guilty of that? Can probably signify by a show of hands. Who has wound themselves up in the past over things for which they have absolutely no control of? Or winding yourself up over choices that you've made, um, choices you've made out of life that may have been good, bad, or indifferent, but circumstances at the time required you to make these choices. So you make these choices, and all of a sudden you find yourself winding yourself up over the very choices that you made. And I'm going to expand the view, and happy Sunday to those of you that are joining. And I've expanded the view over in the chat area here that I think we need to take a look at. One of the topics we all worry about is winding oneself up. This may or may not be a kid-friendly topic. It's going to be up to the adults that are watching. But here we go. What if? Oh boy, that's a big one. What if? I should have done, or I should have said, uh, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I shouldn't have done this thing. Maybe I shouldn't have said that thing. So maybe I should have. Maybe I shouldn't have. And wound back up to what if. Um, and these are just, kind of a few mind tricks here that our brains play on us. And they're tough. I mean, I have seen people, myself included, at times you're sitting around, you're watching TV, you're really not doing anything, or you're just sitting in a quiet room, allowing your mind to chew on itself, which can be very dangerous in and of itself. Trust me, I know this. But what happens? What is winding oneself up? Well, you start with generally a topic, a sentence, a question. Um, Maybe you said something to a coworker or a family member that may have been said without thinking, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, hell, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Well, before you're all said and done, let's see if any of this sounds familiar. This is a part of winding oneself up, okay? Um, let's say you get into a fight or a major disagreement with, I don't know, old childhood friend or something, and you're sitting there, you're going back and forth, and you've got the jabba jabba, and this one says that, and that one says this, and you say that, and another one says this, and before you know it, you got this great big circle of chaos, and nobody knows what the hell's going on, or even much less what's being said. And the words that come out of your mouth without ever even thinking is, look, I just wish you would die. Just leave me the hell alone. Piss off. Go away. Um, F off somewhere and just leave me the hell alone. So you turn around and you storm off, right? Well, then on worst case scenario, this individual is on their way home and God is forbid, they're in some kind of automobile accident or an accident that ends them up in the hospital, or even worse, they end up in a casket. Well, here it comes. Here comes the guilt. And you have this little music box in your brain that has a little crank on it, right? And you're sitting there and you're going, God, if I only hadn't said, I wish you would die. I wonder, I wonder if I inadvertently cast some magic that caused this automobile accident. I wonder if maybe I hadn't said that, if nothing would have happened. Maybe I shouldn't have said that about this individual. God, I hadn't said I wish you would die. So before you know it, you have got yourself wound up in an absolute wire-haired tizzy, and you're running around batshit crazy with absolutely no way to turn, and you've got yourself dug in such a deep hole, there is absolutely no way you're ever going to dig yourself out. Maybe not that exact example may sound familiar, but I promise you, if you're a human being, you have at some point in your lifetime wound yourself up. Said something you wish you shouldn't have. I'm sorry, said something you wish you hadn't. Done something you wish you hadn't done. Or didn't say something you wish you had said. Or didn't do something that you wish you had have done. And maybe the momentum of either doing it or not doing it, the momentum of the action or inaction caused a snowball effect of other actions or inactions, or inaction caused a snowball of other actions. And all of a sudden, you've made it all about you. You've made it all your fault. Maybe you wish a family member would go ahead and die for whatever reason. We've all done it, you know, a family member in major pain, um, unhappiness, illness, sickness, whatever. I know back when my grandfather was struck down with colon cancer back in the 80s, I sat down one evening and said, I asked to the gods to take him comfortably, let him be comfortable. Less than 24 hours later, he had passed. Now, for a little bit, I did wind myself up over that. Did I cause that? Did I ask for that prayer to come true? Am I the reason he passed? Of course not. Here's the thing about people passing. It is my belief, it's always been my belief, and it will always be my belief. It doesn't make any difference if you're sealed in a concrete room with pure oxygen, plenty to eat, and if it's your time to go, folks, sorry, It's your time to go. You're out of here. And that's just always been my belief. I don't expect others to believe the same way. I don't expect others to feel the same way I do. But when we truly wind ourselves up over things that we absolutely cannot change, we're not helping ourselves and we're not helping anyone else. When we have a guilt complex so big that everything that goes on around us we feel is our fault, there is most of the time absolutely nothing we can do to change the outcome of what other people do. And I say most of the time. There is this old wonderful thing called cause and effect, right? Um, the cause of me or the effect of me walking up and hitting someone without some provocation can possibly cause me to get hit back. And if I do, oh well, I've been hit. And if by my actions it causes someone else to get hurt, been there, done that. I don't know of a single human being that hasn't. I don't know of a single human being on this planet that has, at one way or another, at some time or another in their lifetime, done something or not done something that by maybe should have doing it caused someone else to get hurt. Said something maybe they shouldn't, caused someone else to get hurt. But here's the whole interesting thing about winding ourselves up. And this really does actually come back to my most favorite thing that I was raised with, and it's called the Jack Complex. And I have used it a million times. I've used it in times in other videos, and I've told the story in other videos, but to those of you that may be watching Open Pagan Church for the first time, maybe you haven't seen it. So I'm going to tell you. Salesman driving down a dirt road. It's rainy, it's cold, it's nasty, it's muddy. And oh, by the way, did I say it's nasty and muddy? Yeah. Has a flat. Salesman has a flat. So he's cussing to himself. He's already angry because it's nasty and he's having to be out anyway. It's late at night. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And he notices he doesn't have a jack. He has a spare with plenty of air. It's all aired up nice and neat. He has a tire iron in which to break off the lug nuts. But he doesn't have a jack. His cell phone has no signal. He's in the middle of nowhere. So what do you think he does? He remembers a farmhouse about a mile down the road, maybe a little less. He remembers the lights being on the farmhouse. So what does he do? He sets off. And he thinks to himself, I wonder if the old farmer might have a jack I could use to jack up my vehicle and change the tire. So he sets out walking. Now, he's already soaked. His shoes and his pants are already muddy, so why not just take off walking? And here's where winding oneself up comes into play with what's known with the Jack complex. Ready? While he's walking, he thinks to himself, well, this farmer's probably not going to think kindly of someone walking up and knocking on his door at 3 o'clock in the morning, all soaked down to nothing, wanting to borrow a jack. This farmer's probably going to have a very beautiful daughter, as a lot of farmers do, and he's probably going to think that I'm there to see his daughter when all I want to do is borrow a damn jack. And he's probably going to think somebody is there to elope with his daughter and probably meet me at the front door with a shotgun ready to shoot me. And I'm probably going to get up there and knock on the door, and he's going to come to the door madder than hell and not let me borrow the effing jack anyway. Babida, 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 babida. Boy, he had got himself wound up into a complete and utter tizzy. He's stomping in the mud, stomped up the mud driveway, bangs on the door, and I mean bangs on the door. This old guy comes to the door and says, "Hi, are you okay? Can I help you?" And the salesman looks him square in the face and says, "I didn't want to borrow your goddamn jack anyway," and turned around and walked off. The Jack Complex. I didn't want to borrow your damn jack anyway. And the farmer's standing there, he's scratching his head, and he's like, "Okay," closes the door. Goes back and sits down at his table and finishes his coffee. Winding oneself up. The Jack Complex. But I. What if? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Misplaced or displaced guilt. All of these things span from being a human being, someone who cares. Now, at the same time, I have seen many people who do not have the caring gene, if you will. They could give a damn less about anybody else or anything else that anybody else needs. They have no empathy. They have no empathy for other human beings. Therefore, they could care less if they hurt someone. They could care less if someone gets hurt around them. Those are the people that don't ever wind themselves up because they never feel guilty. They don't care. I am definitely not one of those people. And a lot of my closest friends are not those people. Though I have in the past tried to become one of those people that never winds themselves up, that could care less about anything else or anyone else, that could really care less about what happens around them. The funny part is it only lasted a couple of weeks. My internal guilt ended up beating myself up over the idea that I was trying not to give a damn. How about that for ridiculousness? Yeah. So, what are some of your stories? I noticed that we have some folks watching live this morning. Say good morning to Michelle, Camille, Cynthia, Jimmy, Tasha, and a few others that may be watching on the back end channels that don't show up in chat, like maybe just flipping through Facebook or whatever. You're welcome to. In fact, we would love for you to drop your comments in the chat area. And if you're watching on the pre-recorded broadcast later, go ahead and drop your comments in. We will see them. And if you need a further explanation of something, put that in there and ask as well. You know. So what are some of your stories? What are some of the things that I assume Clint is posting his Open Pagan Church. Says, I'm here. I think that's Clint. That's probably Clint. What are some of your stories? Just short little one or two liners, maybe a sentence or two. What are some of the things that you have wound yourself up over? Um, says, I get wound up worrying mostly about this and that, mostly family. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. There are times when we wish we could do more. And then there are times we get angry at ourselves because we feel like we've done too much and nobody's doing a damn thing to back us up, to help us, to do anything like that. And then that starts a different kind of wind up. That starts a different kind of wind up. We wind ourselves up because we do and we do and we do and we do, and this is all we do is do. And nobody else ever really seems to ever want to do anything. How many times have we come into that? How many times have we experienced that in the past? Yeah, you've worked your butt off, you've done everything you can for family, and all they want to do is sit around and want more. I do it about everything, she says. Jobs and relationships, yep. And the fiance or not the wait, what? Finance? I think Cindy's trying to say the finances are not there to help. Oh boy, I get that one. So you've done everything you can, and you've done everything you can to do everything you can, and all of a sudden one day it's like a bucket of confetti. You throw it up in the air, you say, to hell with it, I've done all I can, I'm not doing no more. Well, yeah. Um, Life will slap you in the face from time to time. You may feel you deserve it. You might. I know I've had some shit happen to me that I deserved, and it snowballs from there. Absolutely correct. And yes, I'm having to still scroll Facebook. For some reason, Facebook will not auto scroll for me. Uh, yeah, Paul's parents are in the nursing home. Yep. Tasha says, yep, and lo and behold, you forget about the blessings that are right in front of you. The bucket is full, all out of toothpicks. Morning, Dave. Right. So, in the process of winding ourselves up, and in the process of doing everything we can do to try to do everything we can do and do everything we should have done, then, morning, Sabrina, then here comes the fun part. We have spent all of this time um, feeling like we are doing everything we should be doing, feeling like we should be doing more. Well, before we know it, and check this out, and this will really irritate the hell out of you, this also comes into winding oneself up. You've done everything you can possibly do, you think. You've been the only one doing anything, anywhere to do anything to get it all done. You have run just as fast as you can, and every time you take off running, you trip, you fall, or you run into a brick wall. Well, before you know it, you say to hell with it, and you sit down, and you just say to hell with it, I'm not doing anymore. Well, then guess what? That kicks in the I should have done more. That kicks in the winding oneself up of I should have done more. So the more you do, the more you think you should have done. And at the same time, the more you think you've done entirely too much, so you say to hell with it, I'll just give up. Well, then when you give up, then you feel guilty because you think you gave up on the very people or the very situation that looks up to you. And if you didn't understand any of that, you can pause it and rewind it later. That's a nice thing about recorded broadcasts. Yeah. So, here we go. How do we solve it? What's the magic to fix it? People come up to me and they say, how can I stop winding myself up? How can I stop feeling guilty over, how can I stop feeling guilty over everything that happened, everything that didn't happen, everything I should have done, everything I shouldn't have done that I feel I probably did do? How can I stop it? How can I stop wishing I had done more when I may not have done anything to begin with? And then there are those people that do absolutely nothing, that think they've done everything, but then they get angry because nobody ever gives them any kudos because they didn't do anything anyway, but they think they did everything. Yep, Cindy says deep breath. Let it out slow. All right. So we have wound ourselves up. Wishing we could have done more. Thinking maybe we did too much. Thinking maybe we did more and nobody wants else to do anything. So nobody else wants to do anything. Why the hell should I? So I just quit. Done all I'm going to do. Not going to do no more. Hell with it. I just quit. And that was a vapor alert to wake those of you up that are going to sleep. How can I fix the unfixable? How can I undo what I'm feeling guilty about? How can I do more when I feel like what I do isn't enough? How can I not wind myself up so bad on a daily basis that I end up laying in bed crying because I can't do anything right to begin with, so why bother? And I will say that again because this is what winding oneself up almost always turns out to be. When you wind yourself up over things that you absolutely cannot change, or because you can't be bothered to change the things that you can, you end up in a complete manic fit. You end up in a complete panic-stricken fit because maybe you feel like you should have done more. So you end up winding up going, well, if I should have done more and I couldn't do anything to begin with because of whatever reason, health, money, time, job, family, life. So before you know it, you're either sitting there getting drunk or stoned off of your ass, whichever you do, are sitting there feeling sorry for yourself because shoulda, woulda, coulda. Okay, well, I spent the first half of the broadcast explaining what the entire topic is about and the different variables that are all wrapped up in this thing called winding oneself up. I do have the answer, and it is an answer. It may not be the answer, but it is an answer. And it's a three-part answer. Three parts. Okay? And before I toss it out there, what do you guys think the answer is? What do or can you do? What have you done in the past to stop the momentum of winding yourself up? What have you done in the past to regain your composure so that you can go ahead and get things done that need to be done? Anything? Anything? Anyone? Come on. Come on. Stay busy. Okay. There's one. I have a kickback on that too. Stay busy. Shut down for a day and rethink thinking. Rethink the thing. Have a kickback on that one too. Tried to self motivate. I like that. All right. Let's kick off on each one of these. Stay busy. If you stay busy, then you end up putting yourself in a situation where you're not facing the issue to begin with. If you stay busy, then you're not allowing yourself the time to unwind from the very things that you wound yourself up over. So if you stay busy, then with busy work, you just don't think about the problem to begin with. Shut down for a day. That's not healthy either. By shutting down for a day and trying to rethink the things that need to be fixed anyway, you end up flushing yourself deeper down in a hole than you could actually come out of to begin with, because by shutting down, you give yourself and you give that little jack in the box in your brain more time to wind up. Self motivate. Self motivate is a good one, but to self motivate is to what? If you're not dealing with the problem at hand and you're trying to stay busy and or self motivate and or shut down, are you ever actually accepting and fixing the issue? Then we have block stuff out, focus on something unrelated. That is not always helpful either, because that's called stuffing. When you stuff situations and you bury them, they begin to fester and boil and never get handled. Change the energy around me. Focus on positive energy and only allowing positive energy, music, food, etc. Again, stuffing, pushing down, shoving it deep, not dealing with it. Turning to food. Well, let me show you something here, boys and girls. Ow! That is what turning to food will do to you. I am up to 300 pounds. Turning to food will do that to you. Pause. Take a deep breath. Look with fresh eyes and then get on with it. Absolutely. Thank you Debbie, pause. Don't stop. Pause. Take a breath. Look with fresh eyes and get on with it. And I will expound on that in a moment. Cindy says, shut down and stay calm. Rethink and look at it again. Replan the thing. Shut down, no. Shut down is too imminent. I'm a stuffer. Sabrina says I'm a stuffer. Sabrina, I would never have known that. She says, I'm a eater. I eat my feelings and problems. Pac-Man. Jump, 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 jump. Okay, so what's the magic? Bipolar creates false worries that can't be fixed. By changing my energy is sometimes all I can do, along with turning to my gods. Yes, I get it. Absolutely. However, I have some recommendations. Wow. Don has recommendations. Go figure. I never would have known that. Okay, yes. Debbie says pause, take a breath, look at it with fresh eyes. Absolutely. Absolutely. But Dave says I fail to stay busy sometimes. Yes, I get it. Okay. So let's flip the switch, right? Let's pop our head out of our butts, get our brains out of that emotional whirlwind of chaos and that tornado of my fault, my fault, my fault, my fault, my fault, my fault, my fault. I can't fix it. Why the hell bother? Blah, 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 blah. Stop. Pause. Hit the pause button, not on the video. Continue to listen. Here's the magic. Does it work? Most of the time. Nothing. And ladies and gentlemen, you may as well accept nothing works 100% of the time, all the time, every time, but here's a thought. Pause the momentum. You bipolar folk, there's a cause for that bipolar. There is events and things and places that happen to you that snowballed up and caused that bipolar effect. For you to go way up right or way up left or just batshit crazy continuous. There were causes to cause that. You didn't wake up one morning and go, ding, I'm bipolar. Same way with manic depressive. You didn't wake up one day and go, ding, I'm a manic depressive. It's a slow, gradual thing that causes these issues. So how do we solve them? How do we solve this issue? And were I an infomercial, here's where I would say, send $99.99 to this address and I will send you the magic CD that will help you fix all of your issues. Gag. No, just kidding. Rearrange your reaction to life events and people's actions. Change your reaction to their actions. Start a process of changing your thought processes to be able to handle situations differently. Please forgive me. My sinuses are running. I must blow my nose. Sorry about that. And we may go a little over time today. I'll try not to, but this is a very important topic. It's not the cure for this winding oneself up, but it is changing the way you react to certain actions. It is a conscious thought process of changing the way you react to life events. If you're one of those individuals that if you break a nail, you will convince yourself that your thumb is going to fall off, you might want to change that thought process by going, I broke a nail. Get your fingernail clippers, clip it back, and get your little emery board and clean it down. Don't worry about a broken toothpick, ladies and gentlemen. If you take a broken toothpick and you turn that broken toothpick into the entire house is going to fall down around you, then you've already set yourself up to fail before you ever get started. If you change your thought processes and your reactions to other people's actions, and you come at it, I'm not going to say from a more positive architecture or a more positive way of thinking. But if you change your way of thinking to a more realistic idealism, right? Unless you have major training, the cause and effect of you balling up your fist and hitting a tree is very possibly going to be broken knuckles. However, if you take that anger and that rage and that fear and hug a tree, go around the tree and find the energy of that tree and hug a tree. Changing your reaction to life events and changing your reaction to people events and the way people act and react will, over time, help you deal with winding yourself up. The fact of the matter is, you are not always going to find someone to talk to, someone to vent to. You're not always going to find someone that you can scream at or holler to or give you that all wonderful hug that you need. And if you don't have trees on your property, try to go to the closest park. Find some grass. If you're allergic to grass, I'm sorry. I pet a rose. I don't recommend you hug a rose plant. The little bastards have thorns. And I know this first-hand experience. Sometimes petting a rose petal can change the momentum of where you're going with winding yourself up. So yes, pause. Don't, this is one of those times where I say don't just stop. Take a pause. Take a deep breath. Look at what you're doing. Think about what you're saying. Think about what you're not saying and think about what you're not doing just for a moment. Don't wind yourself up over what you're doing or what you're not doing. Don't get yourself all tore up over something that you may not can do anything about. Yes, it is hard. Yes, it's good to think about your deity. your council, your gods, your goddesses, your circle, your whatever. Um, I haven't had an altar per se in over 4 years per se. I miss my altar. I have not been to or led a proper circle on my own property in over 10 years. But I get it. It's where life has me at the moment. It's the choices and the decisions that I made that put me here, and that's okay. It needed to happen. There needed to be that change. There needed to be that environmental change needed to happen. Did I need a hurricane to help it happen? Probably. My ass would have been perfectly fine sitting in the grove down south and just chilling. But like I say, it's not really magic. It is changing your mindset. And it's a slow process, folks. Trust me, we did not get screwed up overnight. I didn't wake up one morning and decide it's my responsibility to change the world. I didn't wake up one morning and decide it's all my fault if I don't have 300 people following the HOP or the OPC or the GCS or the any other acronyms I've been involved in the last 15 to 20 years. Change and see, here's where I really truly love the serenity prayer. And this is one of the things that are on my top 10 recommended list for pulling yourself up out of a hole. If you don't have a printer to print the serenity prayer, put pen to paper. Oh my God, yes, a pen. I don't even have a pen. Do I have a pen? I don't. I don't. I don't have a pen at my desk anywhere. Go figure. Anyway, put pen to paper if you don't have a printer. But here's the serenity prayer for those of you that never heard it, and I'm sure you have at some point. Replace God with the name or names of your deity, right? God, goddess, triad, council, Hecate, the green man, whatever. Give me the strength to change the things I can, and the strength to accept the things that I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Real simple, 3 or 4 lines. It's right there. Read it every day. Read it every day. Give me the strength to change the things I can, and the strength to accept the things that I can't change, and the damn wisdom to know the difference. Motivation is hard, but well, let me pop your bubble. Motivation is just as easy as the motivation it takes to wind someone's self up. The motivation to wind yourself up, believe it or not, takes a whole lot more emotional stress and emotional anxieties than it does to wind yourself up to get things done, to be less destructive to yourself. And I realize there are those of us out there that live every day in immense, constant pain, either caused by fibromyalgia, caused by terminal illnesses, um, muscular dystrophy, muscular sclerosis, muscular this, muscular that, whatever, HIV, full blown AIDS, and. But here are some things that a old witch, believe it or not, recommended to me back when I was in my 20s. She said to me, and this was a long time ago, so I'm not going to try to quote it, but she said to me, write down the Serenity Prayer. Okay. Write down, I am a good person. And write down, I need to learn how to love and accept myself. And then write down on another sheet of paper, every day I will strive to be more acceptant of myself. And she said, take these pieces of paper and separate them and tape them to a mirror. It's a mirror that you have to look at every day when you get dressed, brush your hair, shave, if you shave, haha. Whatever you do in that bathroom mirror on a daily basis, because I assure you, just about everybody has a bathroom mirror of some shape, form, or fashion. Whether it's a little 6-inch makeup mirror or a great big wall-to-wall freaking mirror like we have in our bathroom. Sometimes it's good because if all three of us are in there getting ready to go somewhere, it takes that big ass mirror for all three of us to line up in that one bathroom and do what needs to be done. But put these positive thoughts on your mirror, and they're called helper thoughts. Helper thoughts. It's going to help me through the day. And if you will read these aloud, yes, you're going to sound like you're talking to yourself. Toughies, get over it. Read these aloud every day. Again, that is the Serenity Prayer in a small block. Big enough writing so you can read it without your glasses. So, we have the Serenity Prayer. I will learn to love myself. I will learn to accept me for who I am. And I will strive every day to do a little better, a little more, and jump a little higher. And one of the best commercials I think I ever saw, one of the best commercials I think I ever saw was a young girl with a sticky note. She had a whole pad full of sticky notes. And it says, tomorrow I will jump a little higher. And she took that sticky note and she had a wall. Now, listen, this is cute. I love this. She had a wall. And the first sticky note slapped right in front of her face. She says, tomorrow I will strive, tomorrow I will jump a little higher. The next day there was a sticky note up a little bit above it. And the next day there was a sticky note up above it. And eventually she was at the top of her reach, and she reached as far as she could, and she slapped a sticky note, and then she actually had to start jumping. And then the next day, she had sticky notes a little higher. And it did show that there were several days that there were several sticky notes side by side because that's just as far as she could jump that day. But at the end of the commercial, it showed the young girl on a basketball team slam dunking the basketball from a stand flat foot up and slam dunking the basketball. The moral to the story is I think I can, I will. I think I can, I will. The little engine that could. If you've never heard of the little engine that could, look it up. And it all goes right back to the me saying the very same thing back when I was talking about crowd anxieties, doesn't it? I think I can, I will. I think I can, I will. Now, that being said, I have seen I don't do mirrors, start doing mirrors. I stay busy, don't stop, but pause long enough to get a better perception of what's going on around you. Like Debbie said, pause, take a breath, look at it with fresh eyes. If you have no fresh eyes, you do. The human brain is an absolutely amazing creature. It is a wonderful thing. It is just as amazingly destructive as it is amazingly helpful. And I'm going to close with these thoughts. So, check it out. I'm going to close with these thoughts. Camille posted the uh, YouTube to that video I was talking about. Absolutely love it. We, as human beings in today's society, did not get broke overnight. We did not become responsible for everything overnight. It happens either as a childhood and everybody saying it's all your fault, or as adulthood and we end up in some kind of damaging, destructive, abusive relationship where everything is made our fault. Yeah. So we didn't get broke overnight. You're not going to get fixed overnight. But I'm not typically one to harp on positive in, positive out, positive out, positive in. That doesn't always work. But I am one to say, take a look at the momentum that you have started in your life and see if you like that momentum. If you don't, the only person in the world that can change it is you. I can't. I can give you ideas. Your family, significant other, whatever, friends, they can only give you recommendations. You have to do the work. You have to do what needs to be done to make those changes. Let's hope that you have a very good rest of your day and a good week and enjoy the upcoming days. Try not to wind yourself up. take a look at the bigger picture. There's more out there than you realize. And when you find yourself winding yourself up, try to answer one question. Why am I doing this? Have a great day. Thank you for watching Open Pagan Church, and we'll see you next time right here.